Hi there, this is Sydney Kleiss. I chose to look at relations during the war in Iraq between the US and Spain for my presentation. So, a little background on who was leading Spain and the US at this time. In '04, Jose Luis Rodriguez Zapatero was elected prime minister in Spain in 2004, and he held office until 2011. He was from the Spanish Socialist Workers' Party. Um, and so one of his first acts in office was pulling Spanish troops out of Iraq. And this was highly supported by his voters. Before his election, I think 90% of voters who voted for him were in favor of pulling troops out of Iraq. Um, and so this was a big movement that he built upon during his campaign. And then during that time in the US, George W. Bush was president, and they were, after 9/11, fighting the war on terror in Iraq. And he was seen as very unpopular in Spain because the Socialist Party was very big at the time. And did that help Zapatero win? It's questionable, but possibly. Um, and so, prior to 2004, Spain and the US had been pretty good friends because a lot of their objectives are the same diplomatically. Um, and so, Zapatero pulling troops out of the war in Iraq showed that he wanted to side with Europe. At least that was one of the things that it showed. He wanted to repair relations with France and Germany because in the beginning they had both opposed the war in Iraq. And so the Spanish government sending troops to Iraq kind of showed an allegiance to the US rather than with the rest of Europe. And some quotes from Zapatero in the press included, I want to see us as pro-European again, and this war has been a disaster. The occupation continues to be a great disaster. It hasn't generated anything but more violence and hate. What simply cannot be is that after it became so clear how badly it was handled, there be no more consequences. And then another event that was happening during this conflict of words more than anything else between Spain and the US has to do with a parade for a holiday in Spain. It's a little background of this. This is the celebration of Spain's national holiday and the arrival of Columbus to the Americas. So after September 11, 2001, Spain had invited American troops to participate in the parade celebrating this holiday. And then in 2004, Zapatero did not invite American troops, turning a simple holiday into a diplomatic message, basically. And also, Zapatero remained seated while the American flag passed by as a protest to the war in Iraq. And so basically, this demonstration wasn't necessarily a bash on America as a whole, but more of in showing his opposition to the war in Iraq. And Zapatero also highly supported John Kerry, who was a senator from, I believe, Massachusetts, in the 2004 elections against President Bush. But we know President Bush won. But anyways, yeah, so basically, while Zapatero's overall goal was to maintain good relations with the US because they did have a lot in common, the conflicting ideals about the war in Iraq made things a little sticky at this time. And one quote from the president of the US and Spain Council said, Spanish society as a whole realizes that poor relations with the US is bad for Spain. Spain and the US have so many common interests that they have to be good friends. There is no other option. And then here are my references, and yeah, thank you. Bye.